Welcome back to the Sting of Scorpion C31, and today I'll be talking about King Dedede and Meta Knight. So without a further ado, let's get started. King Dedede and Meta Knight. King Dedede is the greedy, lazy, goofy, bird-like, self-proclaimed king of Dreamland, which is located on the peaceful planet Popstar. Due to an ambiguous description of the geography of Popstar, it is never made entirely clear how much of the planet King Dedede assumes leadership of, though he seems to have castles, fortresses, and even resorts all across the planet. Just so you'd know, this self-proclaimed king actually does have subjects, supporters, and even servants, most of them being the carefree Waddle Dees, and truly, he does care about them. As of how long King Dedede has been around for is unknown, but it could be very much possible that he has been around since ancient times, as there are a few ancient machines that give reference to him. He has knowledge regarding ancient beings, ancient artifacts, has access to some extremely advanced technology, etc. Same kind of goes for Meta Knight. Regarding King Dedede and Meta Knight's relationship, Meta Knight is apparently King Dedede's most loyal knight. Later, the pair are known as sworn partners. Despite their differences and questionable courses of action, whether being true heroes or not, even before Kirby arrived, they have presumably protected Dreamland on numerous occasions from any evil that dared to interfere with the peace. While not confirmed, probably the best example being Dark Nebula, a being of dark matter of great power that was sealed away inside of a chest, eventually forgotten, King Dedede owning the chest, and Meta Knight being the only one really knowing its contents. Is that merely a coincidence? I'm not so sure. But anyways, I'll talk more about the King and the Knight's relationship as we move forward. I won't talk about every game they've shown up in, just ones I feel have a lot more depth to them. King Dedede first appeared in Kirby's Dreamland as the main antagonist, where he and several thieves acting on his part have stolen all of the food in Dreamland. He also plunders the inhabitants' treasured sparkling stars so that he can continue his thievery. He then hands out these said sparkling stars to a few of his underlings for safekeeping. Kirby, of course, doesn't like this and promises the Dreamlanders to have their food handed back to them. Kirby in turn defeats King Dedede, returning all the food back to the Dreamlanders. While it's not entirely explained as to why King Dedede specifically wanted all the food of Dreamland for himself, it is shown to us that he is not only egotistical but also very inconsiderate and kind of emotionally immature. Or, as this one description states, the self-styled king continuously does things unbecoming of a king. King Dedede would then go on to have his revenge on Kirby by once more stealing all of the sparkling stars, fighting with honor in its remake by handing Kirby a hammer to use to fight back with. The king uses a mechanical hammer and puts on a mask of unknown origins, and so the two battle. After King Dedede's defeat, he apparently underwent a series of rigorous training programs to learn how to fly. In Kirby's adventure, the king removes the fabled Star Rod from the Fountain of Dreams and shattered it into 7 pieces, leaving the Dreamlanders without rest, giving the shards to his underlings or friends for safekeeping. One of those King Dedede entrusted was Meta Knight. The mysterious, masked, bat-winged Meta Knight is seen either helping Kirby or trying to stop him by summoning his respectful henchmen known as the Meta Knights. When Kirby confronts Meta Knight head-on, Meta Knight plays fair and gives Kirby a sword to use to fight back with. Chivalrous lad, isn't he? And here's a surprise, he seems to be the same species as Kirby. And while Meta Knight's intentions are never outright stated, it's very much implied that he wished to train Kirby and prepare him for his confrontation against Nightmare, knowing Kirby's single-minded determination is bound to lead to such, as Kirby assumes that King Dedede took the Star Rod from the Fountain of Dreams as of selfish means, and so Kirby repairs the Star Rod and places it back to where it rightfully belongs. Turns out, all along, King Dedede was actually trying to protect Dreamland from Nightmare, whom invaded the Fountain of Dreams to spread nightmares. King Dedede removing the Star Rod and breaking it had caused Nightmare to be sealed within the fountain. However, by doing so, the Dreamlanders would either way still suffer, as now the fountain is unable to produce good dreams and rest. King Dedede's plan was certainly not ideal, but it's the thought that counts, I suppose. Kirby placing the Star Rod back causes Nightmare to come out of the fountain. With a little help of King Dedede, Kirby managed to defeat Nightmare, and peace was restored to Dreamland. In Kirby's Dream Course, King Dedede would once again resort to being greedy by stealing thousands of stars above the skies of Dreamland, just to keep the beauty all to himself, of course, having his servants to hold some of these stars for safekeeping. Without stars in the sky, this causes the Dreamlanders to not only get stressed out, but they stop eating, dreaming, and smiling. Pretty messed up. Kirby and his ally, Kirby, end up defeating King Dedede and his Robo Dedede and returns all the stars back to the sky. In Kirby Superstar in the Revenge of Meta Knight subgame, Meta Knight intends to take over Dreamland to put an end to its lazy lifestyle, with the help from his crew, the Meta Knights. The halberd spreads its wings and takes to the sky, but Kirby intervenes and attacks the halberd. Look, while Meta Knight may have wanted the best for Dreamland, knowing that bad things will surely come and his comrade being the self-proclaimed ruler of Dreamland has only become more and more unfit to rule by the day, the way Meta Knight went about this was pretty absurd. Meta Knight was fully willing to destroy Kirby and just about anyone who got in his way. Meta Knight still plays fair though and hands Kirby a sword to fight back with. Kirby wins the duel. Meta Knight, however, takes a step further and actually attempts to stop Kirby from leaving the halberd alive. In the end, the both of them escape the halberd before it sank right into the ocean. However, in the Meta Nightmare Ultra subgame, after Meta Knight's defeat, Meta Knight now goes off on a journey to train. Most importantly though, collecting all the star powers from the Dream Fountains to summon Nova, the ancient clockwork star, to make a wish. His wish being to fight against the most powerful warrior in the galaxy, being Galactonite, who was feared for his immense power and was sealed away. And so, the two battle. Meta Knight manages to win, and Galactonite is resealed within his crystal. I would like to mention that in the Kirby of the Star comics, which takes place in a parallel universe, King Dedede has heard stories of Galactonite, knowing full well how dangerous he is to society, and that he could destroy a planet easily. He even calls Meta Knight a lunatic for trying to pick a fight with Galactonite. I mean, King Dedede does have a point. Even if he's not one to talk, Meta Knight did put the whole world, no, the whole universe at risk. I will also mention that Meta Knight states he sometimes forgets that he wishes to become stronger to protect everyone, and that he desires power only for himself, and possess not Galactonite's strength, but Kirby's strength. Hearing this definitely makes you wonder if maybe Meta Knight had slowly lost his touch from his original path over time from his powers, giving him entitlement. The exact same thing goes for King Dedede. Misunderstandings and possessions aside, King Dedede and Meta Knight after these events have since put their differences aside, and have mainly focused on protecting Dreamland and even viewing Kirby as a friend, other than a rival. In Kirby Planet Robobot, from the Dedede clones, we do at least learn that not only does King Dedede still have a huge grudge against Kirby, even despite their newfound friendship, but that King Dedede is also may have grown a fear of Queen Sectonia. He is also known to be the most powerful being in Planet Popstar, and that the king actually has an obsession with eating, perhaps giving no reason as to why he stole all the food back in Kirby's Dreamland. In Kirby Star Allies, King Dedede, after being rid of the Jamba Heart, aids Kirby on his adventure, stating that he wishes to clean up his image and that he will be the one to keep the peace. In other words, he wishes to start acting like a true king now. Meta Knight, after also being rid of the Jamba Heart, aids Kirby on his adventure, wanting to train further and that he could never forget the connection he has with his friends. In Kirby Fighters 2, after the many defeats at the hands of Kirby over the years, King Dedede partners up with an old friend, being Meta Knight, to finally win in a battle against Kirby. Friends reunited. King Dedede and Meta Knight send a letter to Kirby, challenging him as they await at the summit of the Buddy Fighters Tower. Kirby accepts the challenge, partners up with a buddy, and enters the Buddy Fighters Tower to battle his greatest rivals. The King and the Knight's bond is true, and it does truly show. The two motivate one another to keep pushing forward to defeat Kirby. They share, work together, check on one another. In fact, their bond and strength was already so strong enough that they didn't even have to pull on the mysterious mask of dark bonds. All it did was make them lose sight of themselves, but also apparently revealing Meta Knight's true dark nature, meaning unlike King Dedede, Meta Knight has been holding back such emotions. As to where King Dedede found these masks is unknown, but the fact they can perfectly fit on both the King and the Knight's heads It's similar design to their usual masks, and we know that they both could have perhaps may have defended Dreamland back then. Maybe these masks were once theirs. It was most likely left behind them due to them losing sight of their original paths. The Mask of Dark Bonds even reflects upon that. That would be the next most logical answer other than calling them ancient. I mean, even symbolism-wise, the waning moon represents a time of reflection, purging, and order, letting go of the unimportant past, while the waxing moon represents wisdom, birth, reincarnation, death, recklessness, and encouragement. Matches up quite well to the both of them, don't it? Honestly, who knows? Those masks are truly of unknown origin, and nothing is really confirmed. Either way, King Dedede and Meta Knight are defeated and are blasted off into the night sky. And after a long depressing walk, the two end up accepting their defeat and decide to continue moving forwards together. But that's all there really is to know about King Dedede and Meta Knight. What do you think about King Dedede and Meta Knight? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe for more. Long live and prosper! Welcome back to this